bell for the 7th of July. Let's get started. Risk disclaimer. We know there's risk in trading. Please always use trade capital only. Do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Whether you trade in stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptos, you know the deal. Social media. Thanks for subscribing. YouTube.com/Chris Pulver. We're sitting around 6,100 subscribers. It's a nice little growth from last year at 0 when I started the channel, and looking forward to more. So please pass it on, spread the word, like and subscribe, all the good stuff to help the YouTube algorithm and support the channel. Appreciate it. Facebook.com, Real Chris Pulver, Instagram, Twitter as well. That's me. If you're getting messages from something that looks like that, it's number one, it can't be me, right? Like at Real Chris Pulver is my profile. That's my handle. It can't be that. So sometimes there's dashes, sometimes there's numbers, sometimes there's a misspelling, a duplicate letter. Please make sure that you flag and report and block those scammers out there. All right. Okay, let's get to the charts. We had non-farm payroll this morning. We're looking at the market. So 367, I have a couple levels on the Qs that I'm noting. To the upside, to the downside, we're kind of sitting right in the middle. Today might be a bit of an island day. So that doesn't mean break out the pina coladas. That means that we might have some price stuck. So I will be watching for some price action for the following moves. If I start to see the Qs, for example, come back in and fill this gap, okay, or we start to see that we have a gap here, the market pulled back, this structure resistance is holding, and the Qs continue to sell off for the day. We do have a decent bar count on the 200 EMA. We're also looking at a bit of a top with gaps to fill lower for the month of July. So I'm going to see if there's something that we can do to see that play out. Got some covered calls running today. Let's see here. 368 call on the Qs and a 441 call on the SPY. I'm looking to, well, if I can take most of the profit out of those today, then I'll just put in another covered call for Monday. Just keep collecting some nice income on those and just evaluating some pairs. We had some wins this week. Let me take a look at the Telegram channel. We closed out a couple of trades early in equities on demand for the trading room. Let me have a look. We closed out Southwest Airlines for $1 per contract. We closed out Beyond Capital or Beyond Meat for $1.20 per contract, and that's not too shabby. That was I think it was a was it a 250 spread or was it a $5 spread? Okay, our trade is a 280 debit. Oh wait, sorry. It was a long call. My fault. I'm so used to taking credit spreads and collecting premiums that I'm looking at just collecting credits. But anyway, we paid 280 for that Beyond Meat long call, and it would close it out for 405 for $1.20. We had that one way out there in the distance, but if it just goes sideways for a while, the theta decay and the risk on that would just eat up some of our profits. So we just took the profit early. LUV were protected. Looking at the markets this morning, we're seeing some pretty good profits already. I'm up 2% for the account for the day. In the fund, I'm up 0.93% for the day. Generating some income on those cover calls. Like I said, looking for some short-term opportunities to get in the markets. Right now, we are looking at some put volume that's a little bit more aggressive. We have a gap level around 441 that I might look to end up fading. If we break above 440, there might be a quick jump to 441. And take a look at some real-time levels here. I think 437 is the big level I'm watching for the day. So if we can't crack 440, I think the SPY is going to drop to 437. See if I can take advantage of that today. So let me look at a 710, 437. Just going to look at a put for a moment. It's pretty inexpensive, 26 delta. I'm going to wait for a little bit and see if I can get price to reject, though. I mean, I want to see it kind of heavily reject off of 440 or 441 if we fill that gap. If it's going to drift higher, there's room to drift to 442, but overall looking for some resistance. All right. I think I'm going to get into that 437. Let me take a look here. I'm going to go 710 expiration, and let me change this over to the SPY. I'm going to see if we can get down to 437 today. So I've got a measured move from the open. If we go the 10-day moving average or the 10-day daily trading range, we should get down to about 436. So let me go into the July 10th SPY. This is a 437 put. And option strategy, 437 put. Trading for 76 cents, 75 cents. Okay.
Order partially filled.
Okay, getting filled at 77 cents.
Order filled.
Oh boy, okay. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on that this morning.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
All right. Just give me a second here. I'll get to YouTube up in just a moment. 437 put. I'm going to take another one here. Just add to my contract. There we go.
Order filled.
Okay. And if we hit 437, let me set a chart alarm there, and I'll start looking at some other levels. 437 price alert. Let's tap that level. Okay, let me log into YouTube. Say hi to everybody. And thanks for coming out this morning. Let's have a look-see at everything. All right, David first in the house. Ranjit, Chris, Rex, FK, good morning. Oliver, good morning. Gary, what's happening? Darridge's Bill, good morning. All right. So 437's the downside. Watching the Qs, watching the SPY. We'll take an assessment today. I'm trying to think here. Going to A to Z, we had, so I took a screenshot. Let me show the screenshot from yesterday. Now the opening bell is underway. Let's go to my email account. I've got an image that I thought was pretty interesting. This is a snapshot from the day right here. This is yesterday. Of all of the publicly traded companies, we had 81.5% in red yesterday. Crazy. This is just the heat map from FinViz. New lows, we had 80%. 180 stocks made new lows. Not 80 percentages is skewed, but 180 stocks made new lows. We had, nearly 4,000 below a moving average. We have, again, over 4,000 below a 200 moving average, which again shows that death cross, kind of the 50 and the 200. 56% bearish over 44% bullish, but massive decline overall. So market breadth at the downside was pretty obvious yesterday. We're going to see what the market is made of today. I just think that the correction is likely, right? You go to, the S&P, we expected to see a little bit of a retracement. Overbought conditions, it would make sense that for the month of July, which is historically the second worst performing month, that we start to come back down, right? Go to currency strength this morning. JPY getting stronger, some risk off flows. We see the euro and the dollar. I actually didn't look at the. I saw the unemployment number came out 3.6, so as expected, we missed on unemployment, so 209. I just wonder what the Fed is thinking on this, right? 209, is that good or bad? Right? We missed expectations. Revision was 306, but that was a downward revision. Average hourly earnings were up slightly. We had a mix for CAD. We had positive employment numbers and job numbers, but we had a higher than expected unemployment rate. I'm curious if this is a kind of a wash. We have, as expected, unemployment percentage, a slight miss on the non-farm, but still over 200K. I think that this is still considered a tight labor market. The ADP non-farm numbers that came out Thursday were really high. Forecast of 226 came in 497. This revision from 278 to 267 We go to today's revision, 339 down to 336. So definitely softer job numbers on the non-farm side, but probably a good thing for average hourly earnings for the worker. But unemployment percentage is up off of the April lows. So February lows, April lows, that's some of the lowest we've ever had in a long time, like long time. Okay, let me catch some comments here. Bill, good morning. Mason, good morning. Yeah, we'll take a look at some currencies. Just give me a second here. Let's go. So indices wise, SPY, I'm looking for a little bit of a retreat. I'm going to look in short term and see if we can stretch to a $3.50 to $4 move today from the open. That should be one of these dotted lines. The Qs, I'm doing the same thing. So if I can have some opportunities to enter today, looking to see this is where I open, upside, downside. If we exceed that, trades get even easier. But I'm looking to see if I can trade in that zone. Try to get some opportunities in the short term. Okay, and I'm watching my call levels as well. 368 on the Qs, 441 on the SPY. And I'll probably just end up collecting as much income out of that as possible. If it looks like I'm going to get it called away, I'll end up rolling it to Monday and not really worrying about it. What the heck? Okay, so keep an eye on that. Let me grab some comments. Do I have Telegram? Yeah, I have Telegram for my trading rooms. I have Telegram for my equities on demand trading room, Telegram for my flex trading room. Yes. But the YouTube stuff I'm just doing for free. I'm thinking about ways to incorporate more, live sessions. I know that if this is an easy way to do it, there's a way. Obviously, I can just do like a private YouTube room, but that would give me the ability to, just have more people in the room, which ultimately is what I want, right? I want to grow my trading rooms. I want to help more traders, spread the word, stuff like that. So it'd be nice, but that's I don't know, food for thought for me. Okay, let's take a look at dollar index. I was expecting some dollar index strength. So far, it hasn't panned out this week, which is interesting because we've seen more Japanese yen strength. If we look at dollar yen, okay, dollar yen from this pretty perfect technical pocket. Now, I'm a little hesitant to say, hey, let's short it. If I told traders, as always this year, just stick with your alignments and trade short term. So if you're looking at, this is a good spot to look for some short term trading. We had a peak here on 145. It's trading around 142.50. There's 250 pips there on the shorter time frame. You can certainly see on a 15-minute chart, we have a pretty simple sell zone, right? So we started to roll over here into the sell zone, high to low again. That's a good transition for that sell trade in there, and then we get some follow through on it today. So if you're trading short term, the yen is strong. My only concern, if I go to the higher time frame here, my only concern on some of these yen crosses is that if we don't have a big trendline break like this, if we're not breaking this big obvious trend line, I'm not really confirming the sell trade. You notice here that the Aussie yen didn't quite hit the same high. I thought we'd actually make a run up to parity before we start to get a sell. It wouldn't surprise me if we have a little bit of a correction in here and then another push come to the upside. If we're going to form a pattern, let's get some confirmation on the right-hand side of the trend line of these yen crosses. So dollar yen, same thing. I mean, we're pulling back. You see the trend line that I have drawn in the charts. This was a daily overbought condition. So it was a good short-term sell trade. We talked about it this week in the flex room, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see, a little bit of a correction, another run back up to these highs at 147.50 to 150. And from there, again, do we form a pattern? If we have, I mean, how nice would this be technically? If we had a double top right here, okay, if we had a double top and we broke the right side of this trend line, this is a beautiful trade. And it's probably going to be a fast trade because it's a negative carry. So one thing that could happen is we would have much higher volatility on JPY crosses if we have a bit of a bear move, right? But I'm just not convinced that I'm not full on bearish without having confirmation of this trendline break. So short term, sure. but medium term to long term, not yet. And that's on all the yen crosses. I go back to currency strength. Dollars down, euros down, everything else kind of stuck. New Zealand's making its way up. Yen is kicking butt today, so good for that. Good for the yen. If I go to financial juice, let me see if there's any news on the yen. Give me a second. Let's see here. Fed swap rates, futures price in 90% chance of the basis hike this month. We know that. Let's see, that's all non-farm payroll. DXY 2-year yields weakened. So the 2-year yields on the dollar, we poked 5%. US O2Y, we poked 5%. US O2Y. There we go. There we go. So you can see the volatility near the highs. 5.11. We were watching the bonds this week. So if we go to SHY, that's the 1 to 3 year Treasury bond. And we do have some exposure on this one. I think we have an 82 by 81 or an 83 by 82. I'm looking at the IEF for the 7 to 10 year. I want this one to drop a little bit lower if possible. If we hit this 93.50 to 92 zone, I'm looking to start getting long on some of these bonds. And the TLT is the 20 year. Same thing on the 20 year. We come down to major lows and big support. I mean, I'm looking for a double bottom to be long on bonds, which means I'm short on yields. Right? You can trade futures contract on yields. I mean, I think if you're able to, it just depends on the time. I mean, if you're going to pay, I don't know, if you're going to pay for time, I think you give it 12 to 24 months, yields are going to be much lower than where they are now. But we could have a bit of an ugly bond market in the interim. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay. All right, just watching some real-time levels here. Could just be a quiet day. 437 real time. 441 is possible today. All right, so that's bond stuff. Let's go back to YouTube. I'll check the pound Aussie for you, Mason. Pound Aussie for a buy trade. No, personally, no, not in this area. I don't like a buy trade in the pound Aussie for a couple reasons. One is it's July. I don't look for a breakout in July. Usually, I'm looking for range trading. We might have a bit of a broadening pattern here at the top. So, I see some hidden divergence in here with the relative strength. So if anything, I think that this poke, this poke, this poke, I'm looking for this to actually work its way back down. So I like a short-term broadening pattern for maybe 400 to 500 pips on the pound Aussie. I'm not buying it right now. Not yet. So I just summer trading is typically not a breakout month. July is not a breakout month. Usually what we'll do is we'll test a high, we'll test a low, and then we have sideways ranges. We have broadening patterns with those fake out traders because it makes a higher high, makes a lower low. We have ranges, wedges, channels, things like that. Okay, so that's what I'd be watching in the interim. But no, I'm not buying the pound Aussie. If anything, I'm going to wait for some short-term confirmation, see if this will come back and tap this monthly pivot. Monthly pivot, make a lower high, and then start working its way back down. This looks like a broadening pattern, like I said. We start testing this previous low around 8,600. That'd be my profit level. Okay, that's my pound Aussie. I did dollar. Let's go oil. We had OPEC meetings this week. Oil's getting a nice little run. Okay. We've had several days in a row. In fact, this is probably the better streak in a while. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we had 7 out of 8 days positive. So this would stretch into last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 out of 8 candles positive. Bullish. I mean, again, 75 is really the level. I mean, if we get above 75, I'm more convinced that there's bullishness here. We get above 75, I'm more convinced. Otherwise, this level continues to be some heavy range bound trading on oil. Okay.
Order partially filled. Order filled.
Okay. Aiden saying euro dollar. So July is a no nothing. It's not a no nothing month. It's not that at all. It's a structure month. I mean, if you see July doing this, look, if you have chart alarm set, here's what I would watch for. If you have a high, okay, if you have a high and you have a low, and you see that price is trading in the middle, most likely July is going to be a month that comes to test the high, comes to test the low, and then rejects off the high, rejects off the low. A lot of structure in July where prices stay somewhat contained. It's good for range trading. If we have a channel like this, it could be bouncing back and forth. It could just be slow, low, kind of like a grind. It's a bit of a grind month, but I don't see a lot of crazy breakouts. Okay, it's not really a big earnings season for equities. It's the summer, it's summer vacation time for U.S. traders. August is vacation time for European traders. So, July, August is probably one of the slower times in trading. It doesn't mean that we can't trade, and there's still good opportunities. Focus on your process and whatnot. But I'm just saying, don't expect crazy amounts of movements of volatility. Okay, dollar index. You're asking about dollar index. So I'm looking at dollar index to make an assessment on euro dollar. Euro dollar is pushing a little bit higher, but again, pretty range bound. We have this resistance, this resistance. I can see the euro dollar. There might be some traders that are being suckered into this trade right now where they're going to buy the euro dollar. Fine. You buy the euro dollar, I see it hitting this resistance level at 111 and then coming back down for July, August, right? Staying somewhat contained. That's what I would imagine. Okay. So stuff like that I'm watching for. Not looking for massive movements. I mean, I'd like to see, if possible, I'd like to see the euro dollar come back to 106, 105 because I'd like to buy it there and take it back up to 110. If it goes a little bit higher here, that structure, maybe pokes 110.50 to 111 and then sells back off to 108. Overall, I mean, I'm still looking medium to longer term. I'm looking for a weaker dollar. But if I could level in where I could be buying euro dollar in here, that would be better. I'd much rather buy 106 to 1.00, looking at dollar weakness and euro dollar positions to buy and hold longer term. Okay, so give me a second here. You're welcome. And I'm just going to look at a quick covered call on the SPY going into Monday. So SPY, call, sell to open, going to Monday. For 439, 440, I could do a 442. There's 70 cents there. Okay. So Monday, 442 for 70 cents.
Order filled.
There we go. Okay. Let's get some other currencies here sprinkled in. Like I said, trading short term on the yen, some crosses that we like. Aussie CAD, I'm still long. Okay. I think that Aussie CAD, we talked about this in the flex room. We could have a range here. Once we scored a point, looking for this to make its way back up. To me, this is low, high. I'm looking for a bullish pattern in here to be the high or low. Okay. I like that trade back up into the second half of the year for Aussie CAD, getting back to 96, 96.50, maybe more. New Zealand CAD also looking long on this one. This one technically is one of my favorites. This low, this high, building a position in here, big pocket trade, looking for a trade back into the highs, possibly higher. So A, B, C, you measure symmetry on this one, right? Symmetry from low to high, that puts us up towards, 9,000 plus. So New Zealand CAD is one of my faves. Again, you got to look probably 3 to 6 months for that trade, but in the summertime, we might have this, right? A little bit of range trading. But if we hold this low, and this is a higher low, I like that trade going in the second half of the year. So Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, I like a lot. New Zealand Swiss is also one that I'm liking to the upside. Again, probably some summer chop. We might come down and test the COVID crash lows from 2020. Aussie Swiss longer term, I like as well. Looking to see if we can spot a bullish pattern in here. Longer term would be this. We hold these lows, we rally up here, pull back, and then rally again. Big bottoming pattern on Aussie Swiss. CAD Swiss, same thing. We've talked about these, extensively at length in the flex room. Again, spotting a bullish pattern. If we have is this a head and shoulders? I don't know. It's more of just an awkward, like this could be a head and shoulders right here. We break above this level, get above this daily 200 EMA. CAD Swiss to me gets back into this pocket, 71.50 to 72.50. That'd be wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. We start pushing back to 75. One of my better trades longer term. Willing to hold it. That's the important thing. I'm willing to hold the trade. Okay. EuroCAD. So EuroCAD, I talked about this one because it's an inverse correlation. Since I like CAD Swiss, I like CAD Swiss long, which means I'm actually short on the EuroCAD. I'm short on the EuroCAD. So I'm looking for this low to this low. I think this is a head and shoulders pattern. And I'm looking for we talked about this in the trading room, 46 to 4,700. I'm looking for levels to short. So it'd be an equal level. So here we have a monthly pivot. If we come back and tap that monthly pivot, I'm looking for this to head back down. Head back down to equal lows and possibly have a little symmetry move, high to low, lower high to lower low, and we hit that yearly pivot. This is our swing from low to high. We pushed a little bit higher, but this is the balance in the EuroCAD. This is a currency pair that balances pretty well. Okay. So, like I said, longer term, because I like CAD Swiss long, the inverse of that would be EuroCAD short. And so technically that's what I see as this head and shoulders. So if we get around 46.50 to 4,700, I'm going to start looking for short positions to take it down to 4,000. And that would be a bearish head and shoulders. Okay. All right. Euro Swiss at 97.42. I'm going to flip through some currencies here really quickly. I know I only have a couple minutes. Aussie CAD I'm bullish. Aussie Swiss I'm bullish. Aussie yen trade short term. Aussie New Zealand continues to slide lower. I'm looking for a range opportunity to start scooping this one up. I'll start buying it around 106 or 105. We get 106, 105. I'm going to start buying some more Aussie New Zealand and just level into it. I'd be willing to build a position on this one from 106 all the way down to 1.00. I could do 106, 104, 102, 1.00. Again, dollar cost average, build small, take, maybe this whole thing stretches out to a 1% risk, but my upside is probably, 3%. So, I mean, I'm willing to take that trade, right? So you can cost average in here. You can add to your winner with confirmation. You can actually magnify those gains pretty nicely. Okay. Aussie dollar, stay out of for right now. It's pretty. We already took profit in this one at 66. CAD Swiss, I'm long. CAD yen. Yen pairs just trade short term. Euro Aussie, I'm going to look to see if we get a double top. Somewhere up here around 67 to 68. Looking to sell. Euro CAD, we talked about. Euro Swiss, Euro Pounder, choppy. Euro New Zealand, pretty messy right now. We had an equal high. I know some traders in my room shorted it there. I don't know, maybe a pullback and just kind of chop suey. It's probably going to be messy. I'd like to sell it high though. If we hit 8,000, I'll look for resistance on Euro New Zealand. Otherwise, I'll stay out of it. Pound crosses, pound Aussie. Who was that asking earlier? Mason, you're asking about this one. I'm not going to buy the pound Aussie. I'm looking for a short. I want to see some confirmation shorter term to sell this back down towards 86. Pound CAD. If we have an equal high around 71 to 71.50, I'll look for a short position there. Pound Swiss, I'm long. I'm looking, that we broke this trend line. We're above the 200 EMA. Let's see if we can stretch up here to the 1618 around 1.12. Or I'm sorry, 1.20. I'm looking for pound Swiss to stay long. Pound yen, still long, but crazy overbought. It wouldn't surprise me over the next couple of weeks if we drop down to hit the monthly pivot. This was a pretty big blowout move. Stretching from 174 to 182. That's 800 pips of this final leg off of a move that was over 2,000 pips. So, again, short term, probably going to find that pivot. So there's some short term opportunity right there if you're aggressive. But if you are aggressive in your short pound yen, I would be taking profit and then looking for more confirmation. We get on the right hand side of the trend line, different conversation. If this is a cup and handle where it's high to low, pulls back here, maybe there's another short coming. But we have to break the trend line first. Okay, pound New Zealand's. I'm looking for this one to be a rising wedge. We did get a short position. I think it was this right here. We have a short position. We have a swing. Stop above the highs and looking to see if this heads lower. Pound Aussie, pound New Zealand. I'm actually short on both. Looking to get short on pound Aussie. I am short on pound New Zealand. Pound dollar, I'm staying out of for right now. New Zealand CAD, I'm long. New Zealand Swiss, I'm long. New Zealand yen, waiting for more confirmation, but obviously we get some yen strength today. New Zealand dollar, holding out for right now. Dollar CAD, we took profit, and I'm glad we did. We came, wow, this is another 20 or 30 pips above where I closed it. I closed it at 33.15. We had profit go all the way up to 33.83. So if people, traders, right, you hang on to it to 33.50 or 33 plus, we had some profit on that one overall. So I'm happy that I closed. I didn't want non-farm to be a reason that I missed out on some of the profit. So all in all, I'm happy with the win. Dollar Swiss still hanging on to the longs for positive swap. Dollar yen came back to the monthly pivot. I'm still watching closely. I'm not permanently short on the dollar yen yet. Logically this makes sense, but I would be looking more for this, the 146.50 to 152 zone. I know that seems like a lot of space, but just like we had a big top there, we could have another big top there. If the BOJ doesn't change its stance, I don't know, other than risk off trading, how the Japanese yen is going to get stronger. Risk off trading obviously is going to be nuts, but we don't know that yet. And the BOJ is pretty firm on just holding negative interest rates, and it's really a negative swap trade. So that's why volatility could increase and we could have fast moving yens. But I'm just not ready to start, getting into yen strength unless we have better confirmation on the higher time frames. Dollar Sing, we're at 34.90. We've retreated a little bit off the highs, but I'm still holding long in this one to 37.50. Okay. Stock wise, watching, I've got a long call into 441 in the SPY, and I'm looking at that 437 put as well. So I'll see. I can, cut one off for a small loss and let the other one run a little bit, and we'll make an assessment. And then covered call in the Qs that I'm going to end up rolling probably for Monday. And then on the SPY as well. I'll keep an eye on that. Okay. Alibaba got a big jump to the upside. Okay, I might close that one down a little bit. Got some profit on Alibaba. Good. Okay, I'll start looking at that. So it's 10:05. I'm going to wrap up here for the YouTube channel. I would appreciate it. Yeah, gold and silver. Let's take a quick peek. Coach is asking for gold, pound dollar. Aiden, we already did. Aussie CAD, we did, right? I just went through the whole A to Z. Gold. So gold is hanging in here at the 200 EMA, right? It's hanging in there. If we break below 1895, gold is vulnerable to the downside. If we just go sideways, I really wouldn't touch gold as a buyer until we break above this monthly pivot. That monthly pivot is sitting right around, let me get a number for you. That number is, if we close above 1932, I would look long. If we close below 1895, I'd look short. So close above 1932, long. Close below 1895, short. That's my trade on gold for right now. Silver, I think silver is going to outperform gold, and I'm still long. I'm looking for silver to kind of accumulate, in this 22 to 2150 zone. Start holding some channel support, and then hopefully make a run back to some fresh highs around $26 to $27. Ideally, I get up to 29 on silver. Bitcoin, before we go, Bitcoin's trading at 30,300. Still sideways, still choppy, but a bull flag is still intact. The bull flag confirmation has to break above 32,000. If the bull flag fails, that's a break below 29.3. We start to come back in for a range. This could be a summer range as well, right? That could be a summer range. And this, this also, I suppose, could be a bull flag too. Could just be a larger one. But that would give us a pullback towards 26. If it's a range trade towards 20, that's fine. I'll still buy more at 20. Okay. Credit swaps. Did I say credit swaps? I say credit spreads. I say positive swap. Negative positive swap is just trading interest rates. What one website is cbrates.com. What are your majors you trade? Aussie, CAD, Swiss, Euro, Pound, Yen, New Zealand dollar, right? If you look at these central bank rates, the positive negative swap is what currency has a stronger interest rate. Okay, so for example, if I am holding pound Aussie short, pound is 5%, okay, and Aussie is at 4.1. If I'm trading pound Aussie short, that means that I'm actually in a negative carry because the Aussie has a less interest rate than the pound, right? But again, I mean, we still go for pips. I mean, if it's a good trade, I'll take pips. But the reason I'm holding so many positions against the Swiss right now, and obviously I should have been doing more against the yen, but I took stabs at the yen long here and there and made some money. But positive swap on the Swiss is at 1.75. My Aussie Swiss long is about a 2.5% differential. My CAD Swiss long is a 3% differential. My Euro Swiss long is a two and change differential. My Pound Swiss long is, 3% plus. My dollar, you see what I'm saying? So I'm getting positive rollover on all my Swiss pairs. Doesn't mean it's a great trade because the Swiss is still pretty strong. But if I get the technicals to align with these historical levels, plus I have positive swap, that's why I'm looking at that as a carry trade. Make sense? So, all right, I'll let you go. We'll be back on Monday for the opening bell, 9:30 on the 10th. I'm gonna switch over here to equities on demand. And thanks for being with me today, new subscribers. Thanks for joining the channel. Let me know how I can help. Leave some comments, like the channel, all that good stuff, and I'm here to help. Happy trading, lots of profits. See you on Monday. Equities on demand students. I'll see you in the trading room here in just a moment. All right, thanks. Bye.